Welcome to Dual Credit US History B Unit 1. This is such a fun unit and it has so many cool things that I really love to talk about. And it was really hard to come up with a quiz because there are so many cool things. Anyway, before you watch this whole thing, what I want you to do is go to my website, go to the list of focus notes, and get your focus notes for Unit 1. Okay, that's going to be really important because you're going to fill out some answers right here, and it will just help you a ton on your exam and, life too, right? So, we're going to go over some things that are in Unit 1, and then we're going to talk about your project for Unit 1. So, here we go. The first thing that is covered in Unit 1 is about the Triangle Shirtwaist Company. The Triangle Shirtwaist Company was just a typical company, kind of early 1900s, and they were a factory that made clothing for young women, I believe. So they had a mishap with something, I'm not exactly sure what, and the building caught on fire. The big tragic thing that happened during this fire was that they didn't have the proper exits. They didn't have proper fire exits. They didn't have big enough stairwells for them all to go down. They didn't have big enough windows. There was a lot of stuff that they didn't have because this was the early 1900s and they had just barely started factories like this. Okay, so for this part of Unit 1, you're going to answer a discussion post about the Triangle Shirtwaist fire. I want you to do some research on the fire and on the reforms that were made because of this incident, to make sure that things like this did not happen in the future. Okay, so there you go. And I have an entire book of images like this that show, children in the workplace, and they figured that children were great to have in the workplace because they were small and they could, crawl um, and fix the little things, I guess, because they were really small. And this was before child form and stuff like that. So, anyway, that's a big thing. Okay, another thing in this unit talks about the U.S. involvement in the Spanish-American War, which was seen as kind of the opening thing that brought the U.S. into the world stage. Okay, and it really made the United States seen as kind of a world power and kind of establish our presence as, hey, look, you know what? Like, we're kind of a world policeman of sorts, okay? And let's see. Another thing is going to be about the Muckrakers. The Muckrakers were the people who saw corruption in whatever industry, in Washington D.C., in the food industry, in kind of whatever, and exposed the business and the social ills. Okay, the biggest thing that kind of becomes known to the Muckrakers was a book called The Jungle, and it described what was happening in the food industry and how basically none of the food was really able to consume for people, and that caused a lot of reform and caused for the FDA to happen. Okay. There was a lot of reform in the Gilded Age that happened And as far as rights for blacks, it was kind of a one step forward and two steps back. And definitely the two steps back was the Plessy versus Ferguson Supreme Court case. And it allowed for there to be um, racial separation, okay? Racial tension. And it said that separate but equal would work, which, you know, now we know that that's not equal, okay? But they had, a separate waiting room, a separate drinking fountain, separate schools, all of that sort of stuff. So they were saying that separate but equal was okay, according to Plessy versus Ferguson. Okay, let me tell you about your project for Unit 1. For the project, I want you to watch a film called They Shall Not Grow Old. It's a fabulous film, and it goes through World War One, and it puts the photographs in color, which is very cool, and gives when they had like videos, it also tells the things that they said in the videos, which is also very cool. I saw this in the theaters when it came out, and anyway, it was amazing. So I want you to watch this video, and then I want you to write a letter home. Okay, so you're gonna write as if you are a soldier in World War One. Let me find. Here is your project. So you're going to write a letter home as if you are a soldier in World War One. You're going to talk about, it's kind of a 5-paragraph letter home of sorts. You need to tell about everyday conditions, talk about a specific battle, and talk about the technology that was used in the war. It will amaze you how much they didn't have a ton of technology, and then it'll amaze you to look at the trench warfare that was done and stuff like that. Okay, so um, anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know. Your project is due at the end of Unit 1, and I have given you some things about how to cite in Google Docs. And so that should be awesome. Anyway, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.